What's up, YouTube? It's D.
And I'm Jay, and we are my JD Anime Academia. So what are we going to be doing in today's video?
So in today's video, we're gonna be talking about how Luffy will defeat Kaido.
My strongest point I have to say about this is that I think he's going to use some kind of Gear 4, a new form of Gear 4. I don't know if it'll be Gear 5, because you know how Gear 4 has Snake Man, it has Tank Man, Bounce Man.
Yeah, I just want to add to it that every form of Gear 4 is inspired by Luffy's confrontation with each creature on the island of Rusukena. I think that's what it's pronounced. It says like in the chapter that there are several species of animals that Luffy would be able to fight in his 2 years being there. Also, basically each form of Luffy's Gear 4s has to do with him facing either very big bulky creatures with the use of Bounce Man, or very quick creatures with the use of Snake Man.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, so he fights one of a lion, right?
A lion, yeah. There's definitely
Yeah.
a lion.
So I've noticed in the chapters, which we can see right here. So in the cover page of some of the latest chapters, I've noticed that there's always a jaguar or a tiger that makes an appearance. So I think that out of that animals, I think the next form of his Gear 4 will be either Lion Man or Tiger Man. Why? Because I see I've noticed that there's a lot of cat creatures that make their appearance on the cover of each chapter. So it could be Oda just foreshadowing that it might be Lion Man or Tiger Man.
Yeah, for sure. There is definitely those kind of creatures there, as well as some other ones. But yeah, if it's not lion, it could also Oda could just say, okay, Monkey King or something like that, because he's a monkey. But we might see it as a Gear 5. So I'm assuming that if Oda wants to use a monkey god mode, then he would use it on that. But yeah, you brought up a good point about the lion. Maybe we'll see a lion man, since that's definitely one of the creatures he's faced there.
It could also be a tiger, because that's the animal that's appeared on the cover of each of the latest chapters quite frequently, or something that looks like a tiger, like a cheetah or a jaguar, but it could be hinting that it might be a form of cat species, kind of Gear 4.
Yeah, but I also found something that's pretty interesting. There's a flashback in the Dressrosa arc that shows that Gear 4 Bounce Man was not adequate, or it wasn't strong enough to defeat the more broodier beasts of the island. So since that's in the past, could Luffy have developed something on a later stage? Because I think that this flashback took place in somewhat of an earlier fashion. And so I'm wondering, is that probably the reason why he thinks he might beat Kaido? Is that maybe he figured out a move that way they would bring out very beefy, more stronger individuals?
Yeah, I mean, we have a Snake Man, but Snake Man, it's speed over how tough the move is. It's not as tough as Bounce or Tank Man, but it's very fast. But that's not what he needs to defeat Kaido.
Yeah, not even at all. Honestly, Kaido even let him hit him in Gear 4 Bounce Man, even with Kong Gun, and it didn't even do a thing.
So getting back to the point you were saying, Luffy needs toughness over speed to defeat Kaido. It's not like Katakuri, where he needed speed to defeat him because of his advanced observation haki. So definitely his new form will be something that revolves around being very tough, because Kaido has very tough scales that he cannot land as powerful impact. So how do you think he'll defeat him with something very tough?
He will definitely need to use a form that works well on hitting somebody without actually having to touch them at all. But yeah, I want to talk about Luffy's training, because I think that he's gonna be relying on that training to be able to defeat Kaido. So Rayleigh taught Luffy when he first got to the island how to master the basics of all three forms of haki. So in 1.5 years, Rayleigh taught him how to hone his skills in all three of these hakis. And then after like that much time, Rayleigh thought he was well enough to leave him for the next 6 months to train on his own. So that's pretty interesting. I wonder how much mastery did he get in all three forms. I feel like with the kind of mastery that we've seen him have in like observation haki, he needed to really focus on like what he was learned in order to be able to defeat Katakuri. So the fact is that does Luffy possess the skills to be able to defeat Kaido? One of the things that we should ask ourselves before anything else, because the thing is that we don't know with Luffy. Luffy tends to surprise us a lot. Luffy has an act of like going in, attacking, and asking questions later. Like, he doesn't think that much. So if anything, his defeat before in the earlier chapters, I think that honestly it was his plan the entire time. Let's just discuss like his level of mastery of the three forms. So what do we know so far about that?
So right now he's working on the flow of haki, like the Ryu in the Wano country.
Do you know that it's very interesting because he learns Ryu from Boss Hyogoro, but he didn't learn it from Rayleigh. Did Rayleigh even teach him that, or did Rayleigh just not consider it necessary for him to master that, or did he have faith that he'll be okay with what he learned so far? Because like, of course, you always say you would teach him the basics, so obviously Ryu is a very complex thing, and I think the only time that Luffy even learned how to use it was seeing like a demonstration of like Zoro using Armin haki with Conqueror's haki to like slash Kaido and actually harm him. So literally, like the moment he saw that, he was like, yeah, there we go, that's what it is, and then he started to use it. But yeah, obviously, you know, Luffy does really well when he's on the brink of defeat. So I think that honestly with all of his enemies, like even Doflamingo, he fails one time. Like he uses his form, then after that, gone. Just he has to recharge and do it again. So I'm wondering, what is he gonna use?
So getting back to your saying, I think the reason Rayleigh wasn't able to teach him Ryu is because of the timing. There wasn't enough time for him to teach him everything, right? Only 2 years. And the reason Luffy wasn't able to defeat Katakuri before is because he didn't have the training to do the observation haki as advanced as him. He even said in one of the flashbacks with Rayleigh that Luffy will eventually come up against people who are able to see in the future. And he asked him, what will you do in that situation? Because he said that the amount of training that he was giving him wasn't going to bring him all the way to that. I think the reason he didn't teach him Ryu is because of the timing.
But honestly, he was surprised. I think there was a page that I will show right now, how Rayleigh was surprised of how fast Luffy was able to learn haki, because the conventional person it takes them much longer to be able to master haki, but Luffy showed great talent and was able to master all three, and to a good extent where Rayleigh was confident that he will be able to master them with more practice as he goes along, because of course he doesn't get good at it until he faces his enemies. Like he uses Gear 4 but fails, and then after that he uses it again and uses Kong Gun, which ends up working. If it didn't, honestly, he would have lost. But yeah, observation haki, like he failed a lot of times with Katakuri.
It's because he faced stronger foes and he grew from that.
Exactly. So
And now we're in Wano, and he's able to use like the color of observation really well. In one part of the anime, he actually said, "I saw a very bad future." Like I think it was around the time when he's in Udon, and he was able to predict it. But he's learned a lot, so I think it's going to be the same thing with Ryu. And getting back to how he's gonna defeat him, I think it's just he's gonna train a bit more. Like I don't know, like right now he's recovering after drowning. I think it's the way he's gonna defeat Kaido is with a more advanced form of Ryu. And the reason I think so is because basically Ryu is a hockey that causes internal damage. Why do you think the reason he's not able to beat Kaido right now? I asked
think
you that.
lack of experience.
Well, it's because he's a dragon, and dragon have what?
Very tough scales.
Yeah, exactly. So if he cannot cause a lot of damage from the outside, then where's the best place to cause damage?
Inside. His inner body. He has to use Ryu. He has to master. He just learned it just now. He's not good at it, so he has to be able to do it just like Rayleigh did with that humongous elephant. Like I think there's a quote that I took. It's like it says, while Rayleigh and Luffy are going into the jungle of the island, he shows Luffy the safe spot there. After they go a bit further, they're attacked by an elephant. Elephant is like 5 times bigger than any normal elephant, and Rayleigh was able to make it fly far away with using haki. So yeah, Luffy needs to be able to do that with Kaido, or at least be able to do it to use the ability to be able to deal damage on the inside.
Yeah, because like the inside is probably more tender and more like less tough. So by causing damage from the inside, he's able to overcome this obstacle of tough scales and everything.
Like there was even like creatures on the island itself that Luffy could not be here for, because we don't know the full extent of his training. We don't know every foe he faced there. I mean, literally the island is filled with creatures and no humans, because the humans were killed off or like they lost the will to live and died. So literally it was only creatures. And the only way he could possibly like survive on the planet is if he was able to fight everything that he came across. But we don't know all of them just yet. So our predictions so far have to do with the creatures that he faced and based on the forms that he might have created to combat these foes. By the end of his training there, after the 2 years, he's the king of the island. All the creatures, they follow him. He's the boss. So obviously, if that's the case, clearly I don't know if it's just like Conqueror's Haki or maybe just like the fact that he might have beaten them in battle. But yeah, he's definitely faced creatures like this before, and I think that that's where he gets I think that his confidence comes somewhere from there, because maybe he might have remembered his training there. He might have faced someone as strong as that. Maybe it could have been the elephant.
But why would, if he knows how to defeat someone as tough as that, how come he's failed up to now?
I think that Luffy lacks patience, and he tends to be very barbaric with his attacks. He tends to just throw attacks in and not really focus and be patient. So I think that because he learned Ryu, he just kept on spamming it until he literally ran out of stamina. And then Kaido was like, you're just using it in its crude and unrefined manner. And then he just probably knocked him away with his mace or something.
Yeah, and jumping off that point, so you said he's like very impulsive, and so he's not able to do things at this full potential because he's not calm, right? In one of the latest chapters, when he gets defeated, Kaido did mention, which we'll show you right here, that he added a very powerful move to his arsenal, like the Ryu. He even said it himself, but his use of it is clumsy. So that could foreshadow that he's going to use a more perfected version of Ryu that will be strong enough to defeat him.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, let's be honest, this is a shonen anime. He's gonna beat the enemy at the end, for sure. The question is how he will do it. this all depends on what he's able to remember from his training.
Yeah.
Because he definitely the only way you defeated Katakuri was that he focused. Just focus on the attacks. I think that you can learn something, but you have to be patient. You have to have focus. If you just throw punches at somebody, it's not gonna work. They might dodge it. Someone that's experienced as Kaido, he knows how to fight. He knows how to deal with people, as strong as he is. He's fought against Big Mom before, and they end up being like a tie.
Yeah, and other theories include awakening. What do you think about that? Him being able to turn everything into rubber.
That's interesting. I did not think about that.
Yeah, so I think Onigashima is above Wano, right? Right now?
Yeah.
And I don't know, were they trying to crash it into Wano?
Imagine he turns Onigashima into like
a bouncing, yeah, exactly, so that it bounces off. I was gonna say he might turn Wano terrain into rubber, so like that Onigashima bounces off and there's no damage. But maybe this foreshadows that he is gonna
awaken his devil fruit.
Because if he's able to turn it to rubber, then it might just bounce off, and that avoids it. Also, the reason I think he might use awakening, because maybe to be able to go through his tough scales, he also needs speed as well as toughness. Like, maybe he's gonna turn everything around into rubber, and then he's just gonna bounce off of it, in addition to his Ryu, so that'll make it even more powerful. But to be honest, I think it's gonna be more like a Gear 4 form or a Gear 5.
So, I guess let's summarize. So, Luffy most likely will defeat Kaido using what he's learned already, and may borrow from some flashback. We will probably see that he might use some of his later training to sort of remind him of his encounters with other creatures and how he can use his Ryu to defeat Kaido.
Yeah, so for my summary, it's it might be like a lion or cat version of Gear 4, Lion Man or Tiger Man, because it's made its appearance on many covers of the chapters. Or it might be an advanced, a more perfected form of Ryu, because Ryu has the ability to cause internal damage, which would be effective against maybe the more tender insides of Kaido versus trying to land an impact from the outside with a tough skill. It's just that he's not using it very well right now. He's using it clumsy, Kaido says. So maybe he'll be able to perfect it in like a short amount of time. Who knows? He might surprise us. He used Snake Man, and I did not expect that. So I think he's gonna perfect the Ryu and use it more efficiently and properly.
Or Tama will use her ability and convert Kaido to the good side.
Yeah,
that the internet will go crazy.
And then he becomes a Straw Hat Pirate.
Oh. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your friends.
And until next time, we are MyJ,
the Anime Academia,
and we'll see you soon. Alright, hi YouTube! In today's video, we're going to